The last round of Can-Am Grand National Cross Country Racing was one of the roughest, toughest, muddiest we've seen in a long time. And as the field rolled through the valleys of southern Ohio, so did Chris Borich, taking another win. Today's race will be even tougher. Is he ready for the challenge?
Playing in the dirt, face full of mud, sacrificing flesh and blood. Playing in the dirt, digging in the ground. Oh, now I'm asking you, where you gonna be when it all goes down, 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 down?
Welcome to a very special edition of Racer TV. We are at 4,200 feet elevation, the Snowshoe Resort in West Virginia for this, the MotorcycleUSA.com Snowshoe GNCC, a completely different race than anything we've had so far this year. Jason Wagon and Krista Shaw, of course, here to give you the call. I guess that's the one thing that hasn't changed. We'll start the race in the ski resort village. We'll race up and down the slopes, and we'll pay 10 grand to the winner. Here's Krista in the pits with more with Adam McGill.
Adam, we're here in your home state of West Virginia. There's $10,000 up for grabs. If you're gonna win a race this year, this has got to be the place to do it.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We come here every year, and it's just like it's like the Blackwater back in the day, and so it's got a lot of history behind it, and it's really tough, really gnarly out there today. But my Can-Am will do fine. Todd's been checking it all over this morning, and we'll be all right, I think, today.
If you did win $10,000, what would you do with it?
Oh boy. Well, first thing, I would probably open a tab at one of the resorts here, and everybody would have a good time. We'd probably swim and drink Kool-Aids and stuff like that. And then after that, I don't know, I'd probably pay off some bills, and that'd be about it. Money would be about spent. So, we'll have to see. It's going to be fun today.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, good luck to Adam and everyone else. You see the riders down at the starting line. They're just trying to discuss this racetrack and this situation. It's going to be so difficult up and down the ski slopes. Huge rocks, mud bogs, but the fans, of course, love it. And it's unique right from the start. Instead of lining everyone up in the field, as you can see, we only have room for 5 quads wide here in the middle of the village. So we'll line up in order of the series point standings. And if you start in row 2 or further on back, you will have time adjustment on your side. The rows are going to start about 30 seconds apart. So essentially, if you're in row 2, you only need to be within 29 seconds of row 1 to be ahead of them on time. If it doesn't make sense, just watch the race. Enjoy this Motorcycle USA Snowshoe GNCC. And Chris Borich has the pole position as the series points leader and controls them into turn number 1. Go back to row 2. See Jared McClure there on the outside of the National Guard Polaris. Brian Cook had the inside. He got edged out. Back to row 3 we go, and the riders in the back rows can win this race. Last year, Brian Wolf out of the XC2 Pro-Am class beat all the pros and won the overall and the 10 grand. And now the riders working their way downhill. See some of those big rocks and boulders built up. Well, that's obstacle number 1. It'll be even worse when we get down to the bottom of this facility. That's where all the water drains, and then we'll have boulders and mud. And then when that's done, you have to go uphill to get back to where the race starts and finishes. So there is nearly no place to rest and no opportunity to be safe on this track. You're pretty much always going to be thinking, safe lines, keep the machine running, don't get stuck. And you can see these guys are not really pushing the pace here through these sections. This will be a survival race first, and a sprint and speed race second. Right now, Borich over Kaiser. That's no surprise. They're 1-2 in the series. Ackerman looks good in third. Then you got the Can-Ams of Bithell and McGill. I think that's Brandon Summers coming through next. And you see Brian Cook come through in the KTM, but this is just getting started. You see how tight these sections are. You put one wheel wrong, put it on that tree stump instead of around it, and you're going to get slowed up. And here's your proof. We've already got a shakeup. That is Brian Wolf into the lead ahead of Ackerman and Borich. So Wolf, from a few rows back, has already taken over the number 1 spot. And that's the way it's going to go today. Riders are going to find good lines or get stuck in bad ones. And the order is going to change drastically. So we'll do our best to try to figure out who's who and what is where. The good news is, of course, all these machines have electronic transponders on them, so when they cross the finish line each lap, you'll know exactly where everyone stands, and then it's no man's land back out of the woods. Right now, it is Brian Wolf, who won this race last year, out front again. Ackerman second. There is Boric in third. I think Boric is actually pretty relaxed in this situation. Brent Sturdivant coming through next. And then it is Sloan Jackson, a privateer out of Indiana. So you look at our front runners, and there are a bunch that have never won one of these races before. That's how unpredictable it's going to be in Snowshoe. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Yamaha. Well, the wild, unpredictable affair that is the Snowshoe GNCC is wild and unpredictable once again this year. Brent Sturdivant now leading the way, and what goes down must come up. These riders completing a 1,000-foot climb back to the top of the ski resort. Ackerman, Boric, Wolf are 2, 3, and 4 in the order right now, so they've quickly shuffled Wolf back behind them. Then it is Sloan Jackson rounding out the top 5. But under normal circumstances, you're back as far as, say, the number 2 of Kaiser is right now. That's cause for panic. To pass 6, 7 riders in the tight woods, that's not so easy. But on this racetrack, everyone's going to get stuck. Everyone is going to make mistakes. And there's always a puncher's chance. And that's what worked out for Wolf last year. Now we see McGill has caught the leaders. So expect him to be a factor. But Brent Sturdivant, who is a West Virginia native and certainly is comfortable on this type of terrain, is leading the way. Boric back up into second. And then I believe that was Wolf into third, gotten around Ackerman. And then it is McGill. So Wolf not messing around, trying to get back up to the rear tires of Boric. But it is still Sturdivant. No, that's Wolf leading the way. So Wolf has got the lead. How about that? Man has fought back. Ackerman, Boric, McGill, Cook coming through next. We're just getting started with this thing, but we want to show you the highlights of today's morning race. Now, the real critical path here in the morning race is that we run 4-wheel drive machines. We've got the Utility Unlimited class. They're on the first couple of rows. You'll also have 4x4 open, 4x4 lights and limited. And also the women riding the sport class quads. We also have novice classes, super senior classes. 4-wheel drive, a gigantic advantage today. There's Michael Swift grabbing the limited 4x4 class hole shot. You got the big old open 4x4 machines. Now, 4-wheel drive, not just an advantage as far as traction, but these machines run bigger tires, more ground clearance, usually 25 or 26-inch tires, as opposed to the sport quads that run 21-inch fronts and 21-inch rears. And then with the 4-wheel independent suspension and shaft drive, that only further adds to their ground clearance advantage. So with the big rocks and the deep mud, they've got a big advantage, and they're able to climb hills better with the 4-wheel drive. So while the women's class dukes it out, and Tracy Chenko goes on to win that class today, the real star, winner of Utility Unlimited, U2, Cliff Beasley. He takes $100 from GT Thunder for winning the morning race overall, and good job by that man. He has been racing this series a long time and has won a lot of championships in his class, but that is his first ever overall. Back to the afternoon, and yes, these guys are on the more traditional 2-wheel drive sport ATVs. They generally only have 4 to 5 inches of ground clearance. That rear sprocket and rear disc brake are, so you've got to be careful to not get hung up in terrain like this. Look at how difficult it is when we get down to the bottom. No problem for Brian Wolf, no problem for Boric, but it's going to be a problem for someone, and if it's not a problem for these pros here on lap 1, it will be later in the day. Now, see, we got a rider stuck, and remember, we have amateur riders out here, several hundred amateur riders, and if they get stuck, and there's only one line, you get stuck. And and that can definitely throw a wrench in the plans. Now, the good news is this track is extra long. It's almost 2 loops in one. So it's bigger than the average GNCC course, about 20 miles. So that will help spread the field out a bit. You catch the wrong rider at the wrong time, and your day is going to go from bad to worse. Now, the X factor is all these riders down here. Yeah, they've got some help from the fans. There you see the mud fleas, they call them. The fans can get in and do their best to help rescue stranded riders and machines, and that is legal. It's all part of the sport here in Grand National Cross Country. Man, this is tough. Chris Borich back into the #1 spot, and I don't know how he's able to keep his machine clean. The sponsors have got to be happy. Rockstar Yoshimura Suzuki, clearly recognizable what machine he's on. And you get back to Wolf here in second. He's pretty clean, but everyone else is just totally covered. Such as Ackerman here. That Yamaha's supposed to be blue. Man, this stuff is just so difficult. You see that ground clearance. They're almost hanging up the rear axle and swing arm with every rock. There is Brandon Summers going by. Good to see Summers up front. He and Ackerman are teammates with GT Thunder and Yamaha. And then it's anyone's guess. This is just going to change so much as the day goes on what's one of the roughest GNCC tracks, not just the muddiest, but all around undulating. Stay with us. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Yamaha. Chris Borich back into the lead here at Snowshoe and trying to pull away, but even on a fast, relatively simple part of this racetrack, it is a very rough ride. No doubt these guys are in shape to be able to do this for 2 hours. Second place is Brian Wolf. And Wolf, he's got to stay within about 30 seconds of Borich, and he can still win this race overall. That's what he did last year. And you collect $10,000 to win. Third right now, Don Ackerman. There's a $50,000 purse altogether. Second and third get big bucks. And then we'll repeat that same process for our bike race, which you'll see here next week. So if you're a privateer and you're basically using prize money to make a living at this game, this is the one to win. And make a living, as they always say in racing, if you want to make a small fortune, start with a big one. It's the one that can offset the cost. So you've got to think that these guys have a little extra motivation. Now, if you're up front in points like Borich, it's tough to figure out how to play this. If you're this guy, Brian Wolf, you're just going to let it all hang out and try to win. There's Borich in second. And there you go. He's into the pits. Going to take on new Scott goggles, a fresh tank of fuel. And that's the difference of Borich leading this series in championship standings. He does not want to take a chance. He'd love to win the 10 grand, don't get me wrong. But he's got other motivations out there. There's Brandon Summers, keeping the front runners honest. Good to see Summers up there. He has been struggling with mono all year and also broke his leg late last season. That is Walker Fowler into the pits. He is a front runner in XC2, but as we're saying today, the riders from a few rows back could be contenders for the overall win. So watch out for the young kid from Ohio. Now it's time for our Rocky Mountain ATV MC Spotlight. Today we're looking at UTV parts for side-by-sides, including this Tusk Polaris Razor overhead storage and map bag. Is $29.99. Provides much-needed in-cab storage. Attaches in seconds with hook and loop straps. Features multiple pockets and compartments and that fold-down see-through map pocket that you see up on top. Then you got the Tusk UTV cab pack for $29.99. Mounts between the seats near your shoulders. Constructed with durable 600 denier polyester with a heavy-duty zipper and nylon web mounting straps. The main compartment has padded walls and a soft fleece liner, and the front zipper compartment adds a little additional storage. Available for Razors and Rhinos. And you got the Tusk UTV rear window for $34.99. Easy to install nylon and eliminates dust and wind while still offering a clear view. Made from water and UV resistant 1680 denier nylon, designed to work with the Tusk fabric roof. That retails for $34.99. And here is the roof, which retails for $49.99. It's easy to install. Nylon design provides shade and protection from the elements. Made from water and UV resistant heavy duty 500 denier nylon, designed to work with the stock roll cage. For information on all these parts, RockyMountainATVMC.com. Now, the UTV side-by-side machines are part of our series at a couple of rounds, but not this one. This is strictly for the narrow machines and for the riders who are willing to take this type of punishment. Again, we're in an easy section of the course right now as Brian Wolf leads Don Ackerman and Chris Borich. Once they get down in the dark stuff, man, it's going to be hard to even maintain forward momentum. And we're there. Looks like Borich has gotten back into the lead, and you hear that momentum. He's trying to keep that thing pinned, keep the Suzuki moving forward. Listen to the fans. They are loving this ride from Brian Wolf. And Ackerman, not that shabby either. He has stayed within contention, and that's really the only goal you have out here. Stay close, and if something happens, take advantage. Look at Wolf back into the lead. This kid is no fluke. A couple of times he and Borich have gone back and forth, and if there were any questions about Wolf winning this race last year, well, he has answered them. Same track 1 year later, and he is up front again. Here he is with Borich right on his rear tires. Borich doesn't have goggles right now, so he's got to be really careful through the dust. Again, these are long laps, so the goggles have to go a little bit longer. You have to plan your fuel strategy around that. You go a little bit further back here. You got the Can-Am duo of Bithell and McGill, 4th and 5th on the track. And everyone racing back uphill to the pits and toward the finish line. Stay with us on Racer TV. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, Rocky Mountain, and by Yamaha. Jason Wygand giving me the call. The rough and tumble Snowshoe GNCC Motorcycle USA has put up 10 grand to win. The battle is between that man, Brian Wolf, and the rider right in front of him, Chris Borich, to take it. And here's Don Ackerman out of Illinois. He's done a great job all day to stay in podium contention. He'll take 3 grand if he takes third today. And back to the leaders. Wolf still leading Borich. And remember, Borich not only would need to take the lead physically, he has to pull away by 30 seconds at least. There is Ackerman cutting a path through the ski slopes. What a race we have going on for the lead right now. And it is a private duel. Borich leaning on Wolf, but not able to find any room to make a pass. These guys have got to be tired by now, just fighting these machines all the way through the mud. Not as many fans down here now. A lot of them probably headed back toward the finish line area. But who will they be cheering for? Who will be the winner? Wolf or Borich? Checkered flag coming out. Looks like Borich has gotten back into the lead physically, but does he have enough time built up to win this thing overall? Where is Wolf? And he's right there. This is going to be very close. Sprinting to the finish. Brian Wolf, another great ride at Snowshoe, but will it be enough? There's Ackerman. Same question for him. Is anyone else in XC2 close enough on adjusted time to bump him off the podium? He takes a look over his shoulder. Looks good. And we've got the transponder readout right here. And ladies and gentlemen, Brian Wolf has won this race again on adjusted time. Unbelievable. Let's head down to victory lane with Krista.
Brian, you took the win here at Snowshoe for the 2nd year in a row. You must want that purse money pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to be here.
How was the race today?
Oh, it was a tough track, rocky, hilly, steep downhills, tree ruts, the whole 9 yards, mud pits.
You and Chris were going back and forth a lot of the race. How was that out there?
Yeah, it seemed like, he'd get out front and then lose me in the dust, and then we come up on a mud pit and he'd get hung up and I'd sneak right around, and it was back and forth like that the whole race.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, he's a little more excited than he was last year, but God, the guy just won 10 grand. And Walker Fowler takes 3rd overall out of XC2. Let's talk to Boric.
Chris, unfortunately, you weren't able to take the overall win today, but you still got a first place finish for XC1, so that's got to be good for the points lead.
Yeah, that's what we were going out here for today, just try to gather some points. It looked like Taylor fell back there a little bit, so probably got a pretty good points gap right now going into the summer break. So, I don't know, Brian Wolf gave a good run today, and we just came up a little short.
I actually saw you in the woods section out there before the pits. You actually went the wrong way and had to have some people help you turn around. I saw Brian get around you.
Yeah, we went in I don't know, it seemed like everybody pointed me up into that lineup there, and it was basically a roadblock, so I had to spin around. I had a pretty decent lead on him, and then he caught back up, and from there it was just hard to pass.
All right, well, good race out there.
Thanks.
Okay, there's the overall when you remove the XC2 riders, and he said Taylor Kaiser would drop back 4th. That's going to help Boric in points. And the young kids on the podium.
Walker, it's your best finish overall so far. You got a 3rd place. It's got to feel really good.
Yeah, it's awesome to get 3rd overall, but it sucks when the guy that won your class gets the overall. So, I tried as hard as I could, and that's all I had.
Well, how was the track out there?
It was pretty rough. This side, the other side of the road isn't bad at all, but the last lap coming into the finish line, that was all pretty gnarly.
All right, well, good job. Hopefully we'll see you up here more often.
Yep, thank you.
Crazy day today. Let's check it out with the Yamaha race recap. Chris Boric controls the lead early on, but quickly has competition from riders like Brent Sturdivant, Don Ackerman, Sloan Jackson, a privateer, was up there. It was up and down all day. Boric and Brian Wolf were the only 2 consistent factors out front. On occasion, Ackerman would keep them close, but late in the game it would boil down to this. Wolf trying to hold off the XC1 Pro riders and win the big purse. Boric would get the lead late. He would attempt to pull away. He'd get stuck. Wolf would close back in. They would go back and forth until finally Boric had the lead as the checkered flag came out, but he did not have a big enough lead. He needed to build up some adjustment in the time. He wasn't able to do it. And because of that, Brian Wolf wins Snowshoe for the 2nd straight year. Congratulations, and thanks for watching Racer TV.